If, as the U.S. government maintains, flying saucers don't exist, why are there government protocols about what to do in the event of a UFO crash? If there is no threat, why do disaster preparedness manuals used by the Federal Emergency Management Agency include information about what to do in the event of an extraterrestrial encounter? Stardate 2317.4. Encounter with a civilization unknown to the Federation. Proceed with extreme caution, and above all, do not interfere with this newfound society. That's UFO protocol Star Trek style, where men and women boldly go in search of life beyond our planet. Stardate 1995. Encounter with a UFO unknown to the United States government. Since the possibility cannot be ignored that UFOs reported may be hostile, it is imperative that sightings be reported rapidly, factually, and as completely as possible. This is not another prime directive from the fantasy world of Star Trek. It is official United States Air Force UFO protocol, taken directly from the pages of this operations manual. And the Air Force is not the only federal agency with a written policy on close encounters.
We tell them, don't touch, don't come in contact with, isolate, be friendly, be solicitous, display no hostility, and take very good precaution that we do not become involved if we do not have to.
William Kramer is a district fire chief in Cincinnati, Ohio, who has literally written the book on what to do in the event of a UFO crash. It's part of the Fire Officer's Guide to Disaster Control, a training manual used in all 50 states and reportedly endorsed by FEMA.
As far as we know, this is the first time this subject of unidentified flying objects has actually been incorporated into a larger, full-length text that's being used in a very serious way by the nation's fire officials.
But why does Chief Kramer believe that a chapter on flying saucers is essential to his disaster training textbook?
One of the reasons is the obvious real panic that exists when people feel they're being threatened by some unexplained phenomenon, including UFOs. It's very possible that an alien visitor could wreak some sort of havoc on a given populace.
When Sightings asked FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, to comment on the manual's Chapter 13, the UFO chapter, their response was typically terse, stating FEMA does not endorse or embrace the information in that chapter. But Sightings has learned through FEMA's own disaster defense planning guide that the agency not only assigns Chapter 13 of the Disaster Control Manual as required reading, but also tests its own disaster officials on its contents.
One of the reasons there's probably a government cover-up is that the whole world order would change if we suddenly realized we are not alone. Our entire social order is based on the fact that we are the whole sum total of life's existence right here on this planet.
The wholesale disruption of planet Earth would be the ultimate foreign policy disaster. According to investigator George Knapp, it is a possibility that did not escape the attention of at least one former president.
It's very curious. I know of 3 speeches in particular that he made. Some say it's as high as 5, in which he says, wouldn't it be something if we were suddenly threatened by some alien force, we'd all get together? And of course, he's making this statement to Gorbachev. He made it to the United Nations. What kind of message was he trying to get across? I have a hard time believing that it's just a coincidence.
While President Reagan may have hinted at the possibility of alien spacecraft, other federal agencies have not been so circumspect. UFO protocols do not stop with the Air Force and FEMA. The FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, has its own guidelines. And NASA must abide by a little-known federal law that any astronaut who comes in contact with an extraterrestrial must be quarantined.
We know for a fact that there are various forms of radiation that exist in outer space. It's very possible that a visitor from outer space could bring this type of radiation to this country. There is, in fact, a national law that mandates the quarantining of any astronaut or other person who has actually encountered some sort of an unidentified flying object or has been involved in some sort of an encounter that's out of the ordinary.
The more you fly in space, the more you see an incredible amount of things out there. Spaceflight itself broadens your horizons to the point which you kind of open up to possibilities.
Dr. Story Musgrave has been a NASA scientist and astronaut for 27 years and is a veteran of 5 space shuttle missions. He believes that UFO protocols are in place not because we have already been visited, but because eventually we will be.
That's what space flight is about. It's about exploration. It's about pursuit, discovery of the unknown. I can see no reason that that would be classified in any way, and I wouldn't let it be.
These UFO protocols are based on the assumption that a UFO contact will be a threat, be belligerent, and will cause widespread panic. But what if the UFOs come in peace? Will we be as prepared to welcome them as we are to declare war?